88 Films.
All right, we're back.
He's
Another
back.
episode of Store Credit. Thank you guys for tuning in last week.
Hit the button.
Hit the button. We have DC next to me, and then today
Sup,
we
sup,
have
sup.
a special co-host, Austin.
Big Austin.
What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
It's good. How you
Austin,
doing?
How are you doing?
Really well. Can't complain, man.
A little rainy day.
Yeah, it's gross out there, but we're doing our thing in here. We got the bright lights since the sun's not shining, so
It's a little hot in here. No, it's good in here.
no, it's cozy. It's cozy.
So, quick question before we jump into sneakers. How'd you come up with the flip? Or like, when did you know that became a thing?
So the flip. The flip is literally something that I did and was just completely unaware of it.
Yeah.
It was like just my natural process for inspecting sneakers and authenticating them and looking for flaws. In my mind, it was like a really easy way to look at the shoe from every angle. And this happened literally because I've bought pre-owned pairs before where like you're looking at a shoe in the box, you look at the sides that are facing you kind of as they're resting in the box when you open up the pair. And dude, I've bought a shoe, paid the dude money, went to lace up the sneaker, and then they had like a razor blade gash, on the opposite side of the shoe, So it's like, okay, well, these are worth nothing now.
Yeah.
And so kind of from trial and error, the flip is something that I literally did just to look at like every different angle of the sneaker, make sure that I didn't leave any point unturned or unlooked at, so that, in my evaluation, I could make like the fairest appraisal of the shoe. And from buying on camera and putting out the content that we did on YouTube, the comments section is who made me aware of the flip.
Yeah.
So funny story, the first time that I came to LA as a round 2 employee, I flew out with Hailey. This would have been probably 2015, maybe 2016, but I think 2015. And I got to the store early before open. And I was just standing like in front of the shoe wall. There were some kids that were lined up, and I guess they saw me inside, and they started banging on the glass. And Sean's like, yo, like, what's happening out front? And it's kids are just like banging on the window because they see me in there. And literally, like, one of the kids is like, he sees me, and he just like had stuff to trade, so he has shoes, and he starts flipping them around. And Sean's like, yo, like, they recognize the flip.
Yeah.
Like they see you like from the show. And I was like, oh, like LOL. And I was randomly like standing beside a pair of shoes. And I pointed at the shoes. And when I pointed at the shoes, the kids that were like knocking on the window, it was like 5 more kids. Now they're all beating on the window. It's like 10 kids are beating on the window. So I pick up the shoe and I just like flip it. Like I start looking at it the way I did. When I did the first turn, the kids that were beating on the window were like, yo! And they're just like banging on the glass, like, he's doing the flip! And it was like my very first morning in LA, and I was like, this is weird, bro. Like, this is crazy. The power of YouTube,
Yeah,
man.
low key. It's always the funniest. Like obviously with the round 2 and then with ours, when people see you, you're like, hey, you're the round 2 syndicate guy. So that's always cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So sneakers. What do you think of the Bread 4 that came out? We got first look at it this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I just got a few moments to check them out in hand when I got here today. I mean, I think as far as like a reimagined goes, they're good. Like, I mean, how many times have Bread Force came out? 99, 08, 12, and 15?
12, 19.
12 and 19. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. So, these sneakers have came back several times. Maybe it was time to put a little twist on the way that they were constructed. With it being super gross and rainy today, no nubuck, you can get a little fit off in these. I think as far as the shape, we're really leaning into the SB4, which, I like, but I don't know, like they're really tall in the heel. Like they look almost like a real mid top, like I think some of the older retro 4s kind of read visually as a low top sneaker, but these like, I don't know, they look very much so like a mid top. They kind of give me like Air Trainer vibes. Like they look very 89 in this shape. I don't know what you guys think of them.
to me, it looks like a 99.
Yeah.
Like a 99 Bread 4, the first retro,
Mhm.
which I was like, that was my favorite Jordan growing up.
Yeah.
Well, one of them. And I just remember seeing that shape and then I think the Countdown pack got it right too.
Yeah.
The Countdown pack was such a good
The
form.
08
And
pair is
y-
sick.
Yeah, and then 2012 kind of was just like, to me, it was a force, like, for me to buy it because I'm like, oh, it's a Bread 4. I can't wear the Countdown because that one cracked really easy.
They did straight
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Even
No,
from-
by 2012,
Yeah,
the
they were
08s
gone.
were popping and peeling.
Yeah, but I'm a big fan. Honestly, I hated them. I think on the podcast I called them a red Blue Motorsport 4.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but the shape of the Motorsport 4 is like, I don't like that shape of Jordan 4s. It's like very low, like super low. But this one, honestly, seeing it in person, I'm a fan. So you guys can cook me in the comments if you guys want. But yeah, what do you think?
Nah, it sits well, bro. It's like very well constructed. They did really good leather on it. They definitely shut us all up because it's made perfectly. And even like the back tab, it's not like super plasticky and hard. And they have a lot of padding. Like Austin said, it's very SB4 like, and it definitely has the newer shape. Well, the old school new shape. So if the military 4s are gonna be like this too, definitely gonna be another good cop.
Yeah, I think I was just so disappointed with the Royal Reimagined because not gonna lie, the Royal Reimagined has a really good shape to it.
Yeah,
when
it
you
does.
put it on,
Mhm.
but I just can't get with the all suede. on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But the shape on it is actually really good. And then with these, I think in my head I was already programmed like they're gonna suck. But honestly, they're a lot better, and the shape
Yeah.
to me is pretty good. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, they also teased the Black Toe already, kind of. That it's gonna have the
Nike Air written out on the
yeah,
side.
like the Air Jordan
Yeah.
written out, like how it did in that OG.
I don't know if that's going to go over super well with consumers.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's times where Jordan Brand kind of does this like if you know thing that's supposed to be like attractive to the OG collectors, but we're a very small percentage of the overall space, and I think at times when you make a detail to excite the heads, you kind of lose the masses. And at least like from my perspective, I don't necessarily feel like excited by the Air Jordan branding.
Yeah,
Like
it looks better with the wings.
it looks better with the wings. There's a reason why, Peter Moore drew that amazing logo and why those sneakers have always featured that branding as opposed to the uppercase Air Jordan font branding. Yeah, it's just like obviously the wings logo is super timeless.
Yeah.
And the Air Jordan, it's like I think we could have maybe left that in '85.
That's a good point. No,
You
yeah,
know?
and then also it's like kind of how you said, like we're a small percentage, and if you're trying to like make that small percentage happy, but you're also doing a super general release, so the Jordan is bound
Yeah,
to sit. So it
that's-
messes it all up.
That's a great point.
What was another shoe that came out this week?
Well, this weekend we had the Grammys and we had the I don't know. I think it was a fake drop. The Travis launch.
Oh, what the one low?
The Cactus
Nah,
Jack.
like his
oh,
actual
the
His
sneaker.
actual model,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. How do we feel about the silhouette?
I keep saying it. I think it's a Yeezy too low. That's what I see it as. I think he got a lot of inspo from the Yeezy 1 and Yeezy 2.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm honestly a fan of looking at the shoe. I don't know if I would wear it. I would want to try it out, but that leather already looks like it's gonna bend really easy and crease really bad. But I would have to see it in person, and I think they did load up as sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They loaded up and sold out.
yeah. Could
They
be
were just
what
never
he
in
said
stock.
about like the Grammys, like where they thought he was gonna win it, and
Yeah.
then he didn't win it, so they're like, oh,
Just
No,
kidding.
no.
yeah, just
We'll give it
kidding.
to y'all later.
Rainy day.
Yeah, because right
Sheesh.
now the bids. I don't pay attention to the ask, but the bids are like 1,000.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so they're pretty high, the
Yeah.
bids, but obviously it's gonna change when this drops. But
yeah.
they're pretty high up there. But again, I don't really see it being like a hit, as in like if it's a GR.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be like as valuable as like the allocation allows it to be.
Exactly.
As soon as everybody can get their hands on them, I think we'll find out then how much people actually like the sneaker.
Yeah.
That's something I always love to say.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see that he's getting his own model. But I
Yeah.
don't know if people remember, Virgil's own model is the Terra. What is that thing called?
The Forma.
The Forma.
Yeah.
And that one didn't do too well. A lot of people weren't big fans of it. So we'll see how this one does in the market. Obviously, Travis has, I would say, slightly more of a fan base than
Yeah.
Virgil. Virgil obviously was huge, but I feel like more people like Travis.
Well, I feel like Virgil's fan base is for his designs, right? So if you're not feeling, what he's doing aesthetically, then you can almost kind of separate your support.
Yeah.
Whereas with Travis, people are a fan of his music,
Yeah.
and then because of that, are kind of excited by anything else that he puts his name around. With Jordan Brand.
What do you think of like? I think there's like 3 or 4 rumored Jordan 1 lows to come out this year. There's the yellow one, there's the olive, and then there's this other one that they just teased, right?
Like pale.
The pale.
Yeah.
What do you
Whatever
think of
color.
them going and it's saying they said that the olive or the golf was going to be the last one, and they're like, oh, just kidding, here's 3 more.
Yeah, I don't know. So the whole Travis Scott Jordan chapter, I've never really had a lot to relate to, buying these pairs. Personally, like I don't really listen to a lot of Travis Scott's music. Looking at like the impact and the influence that he has with the kids, like I think that's really special. Like I've seen, footage of him performing and having like experiences with fans that, I think looks super, super like just powerful, and I can see where he's been able to garnish the support that he has. But, past the Jordan 4, as soon as he flipped the swoosh backwards, aesthetically, he lost me. I haven't
you weren't a
cared.
fan?
Yeah, I just haven't cared about like the ones when they came out, the lows. Like I've stayed aware of what the sneakers are worth, just in terms of like having to, be able to resell them and not play myself from a like a market awareness standpoint. But just aesthetically, like I thought the Jordan 4s, him being from Houston and kind of playing into that Houston Oilers color blocking and the super buttery suede on those, like I think that's a great shoe. Those and like some of the other unreleased, the FNF 4s, the
Yeah.
purple 4s, and the chocolate pair, like all of those I think are really well put together and are just like super fire and sick. But yeah, he lost me with the backward swoosh. I haven't really like felt a personal like attachment to any of these designs since the swoosh got flipped backwards.
I'm actually surprised, speaking of the 4s, that he hasn't dropped another 4 and that
Yeah.
he's stuck to the ones. That's a big thing. Like to me, I'm just like, damn. It's kind of like when Kanye did the 750 and kind of went away from it.
Yeah.
Because
No,
I think
facts.
the 4 was a really good shoe. It just kind of aged badly.
It
like
fades nasty.
It fades pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't done another sneaker besides the 1 and the 4.
Yeah.
I feel like also it could be a thing where maybe his contract was up and then they renewed it because also they have nobody else right now that they could really utilize like they do him, that they know like, oh, it's this collab, it's going to be a hit or it might be a hit because of the name. They haven't
Yeah.
found somebody else to continue doing that, because if you notice also, the only other person like in that realm, well, it's not even the same realm, is like they giving collabs to like Amamanier, James Whitner, and like to Social Status. It's
Yep.
like those two are the main people that are getting all the collabs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is it because you guys haven't found somebody else that you think could hold that same belt? You know what I mean?
I think it is because of that.
Yeah.
I think like Nike is so rooted in like legacy and history that right now it's limiting them, in terms of taking risks, putting an emphasis on new silhouettes, new ambassadors and partnerships. Like, again, like I've already said it, but I don't feel a lot of personal attachment to the Travis Scott stuff. I would love to see, more emphasis put on like the Devin Booker releases. And, to me, like Nike is it's a sports brand. They make performance sneakers. So, I think it makes the most sense to heroize athletes over rappers and entertainers. I think that kids gravitate towards musicians and artists, and that support equals money and equals profit. And I think that's sort of steered Nike into these like entertainer partnerships. But I mean, dude, like look at the NBA currently and the amount of star power. There's so many talented and influential athletes between Ja and Devin Booker and, some of the Jordan Brand guys, Luka and Zion. And, I think that these guys should be more influential, and the sneakers that, are made for them should be more appreciated and more designed to accommodate wear off the court, like kind of like what Devin Booker's up to.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as we can see another great athlete be met concurrently with a iconic sneaker design, sort of like what I feel like Anthony Edwards is doing with Adidas, and then concurrently you market that drop and that collaboration in a way where you're just really heroizing this person. Like, look at what Nike did with Michael Jordan. Like, I have in my closet, like I have jackets from the 80s and I have t-shirts from the 80s, and there were socks and, the full capsule of clothing accompanying this really timeless sneaker design. And then just think about the campaigns, the photos, like, where is that right now from Nike as it aligns with, again, heroizing some of their partnered athletes? I would be so impressed, to see Nike do something with Devin Booker that, is reminiscent of days with Michael Jordan and those early marketing campaigns and product designs.
Yeah.
Help Nike.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, because that's why like the Nike basketball era, like up to 2014, was really special because it was a package that came out all on the same day, and you obviously had to line up for it, enter raffles, and I feel like they went away from that.
It would also have way better promo for all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like, think about the Galaxies. Like, that whole promo for, like, the whole Galaxy pack. And obviously the foam posit sticks out, but that whole pack was insane.
The packaging, like, just as a concept, so impressive. There's a reason why those shoes are about to retro this year,
Even
because
like with the KDs
they matter.
this year, like the Nerfs,
Yeah.
all that stuff, like the packaging for the Nerfs, and how, like, you couldn't get that shoe with the packaging, obviously. And I feel like they're obviously retroing them because they know it did so well. But maybe if they did take some of those ideas and brought it to this new school.
Yeah.
Because the Jaw is a really good shoe.
It is.
I think it's a really good shoe. The Devin Booker, it's finally going to release. And I feel like I've seen that shoe for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to release in a week.
They did that whole thing super weird. The fact that like you said, like there's been images of this shoe out now for a year. Like I've gone to Foot Locker several times and I've seen, what's on display. I've never had the chance to touch a Devin Booker shoe. I've never had the chance to even like, do I want to spend money on these and try and bring them home and wear them? Like, Nike hasn't even presented that opportunity or shopping experience to me within my arm's reach yet.
Yeah.
And so, just looking at that and like identifying it as a problem and trying to fix it, so that more people can have access to these shoes. It's like, you're not going to be excited by something you can't touch, And I think they could definitely stand to just be more aware of the talent that they have right now, and then trying to, be timeless again with these partners, instead of just saying like, okay, like we're going to do big bubble Air Max 1s and we're going to do, even some of the Nike basketball stuff from our childhoods. It's coming back because it was special, but what are they working on right now today that in 5 to 10 years we'll be excited about returning to, release again?
Yeah, like example of that was I went to go see Jason Tatum play when he played both LA teams in December, and he debuted his new shoe, and I was just like, yo, this shoe looks sick on the court, but then now it's just like faded away. Like it's just like, I was super excited because I was even telling them like, oh, I want a pair of those green ones that he wore for Christmas just to try them out for hoops, but then now it's just like, obviously they haven't dropped. They drop out, I think, this month or next month. But it's just like the excitement went away because it's been 2 months since I saw him play.
No, yeah.
One time I went to Universal and I did the tour there, and the guy that was doing the tour was like, moviegoers, like if you have a perspective or if like there's a certain type of movie that you want to see, make sure that when those projects come out, you support and you buy a ticket, because, like ticket sales ultimately drive investment into these projects. And so I think like looking at us as people that kind of make up the space, why aren't original silhouettes right now received more positively by us? Is that the designs? Is it that we're as rooted in like the history of sneakers as Nike, and that's why they try to kind of cater to that consumer? Like, what is your perspective, I guess, on like why new silhouettes don't get that warm reception from the community when it seems to be kind of like what we all want? Like,
I think it's a mix of like them not properly telling the story, and also a mix of them just trying to push stuff out to where like we forget about something because we're already on to the next. We don't have time to like actually take it in and enjoy the product before something else is like shoved in our face.
Yeah.
Or even like perfect example, like you were saying earlier, with not being more like inclined to do a full story or a full rollout for like special projects that like the shoe's dope or like the item is special, but we don't care because you guys don't show that it's special. And they have to play a big part in that too, and understand that the way they rolled out things makes a difference in also like the consumerism. Because
Absolutely.
if you're just throwing something, oh, here it's on the shelf, all right, why should I buy that? People want a reason to buy into something and to be a part of something. They don't want to just do it just for the hell of it. People need to be shown why, okay, this is special and this is why I feel like I have this on my foot, or why I'm wearing this t-shirt, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I feel like, for example, I said in the last podcast with the Devin Booker, that orange one they released at Art Basel.
Yeah.
It's like that shoe should have dropped in Phoenix.
Hell
And
yeah,
it should have been. It's super limited, but it should have been a little bit more available, but to Phoenix, and then people from California, Miami, New York would have been like, "Fuck, I want that shoe, and I can't get it."
Yeah.
because it's in Phoenix. So I think that creates the hype, and then I feel like the people in Phoenix, they're gonna be more inclined to wear it because they see Devin Booker day in night out.
Yeah.
type
No,
thing.
I agree.
Yeah, because I feel like if the people that got in Art Basel, they're like, oh, sick. Like pretty much it was all influencers. They're like, click the button on StockX.
Yeah.
it's
You're
gone.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It didn't mean anything to
Yeah,
them.
to them it was just
Yeah.
like, oh, money, bet.
Literally.
And then with
you're
the
right.
people in Phoenix, they would have been like, I want to wear it because I support Devin.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
play him
you're
well.
right.
Yeah,
I fully agree, dude.
yeah. So I feel like if they would, I think that, for example, that drop to me was just confusing.
It
Like
is.
Phoenix should have got first dibs.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
And I actually heard that discussed on the Complex Sneaker podcast. And yeah, I fully agree. I fully agree. I don't know why they went the like hype route, like kind of trying to like inject that sneaker into this social setting that would almost elevate, you know, the way the shoe is perceived. But like you mentioned, to the people who had the chance to bring that shoe home, you know, they could have left them there. They could have left
nobody-
them in the hotel room, you know,
Yeah.
like there was no like attachment
I
to,
haven't seen nobody wear
to
it
Devin.
cool.
Yeah.
Like as in like besides Devin Booker, I like obviously, or maybe I just don't pay attention enough. But but that's just like, again, like giving the shoes to Phoenix, it would have gave a lot of people different options to wear it, and obviously just even seeing it get used on court and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, you would have seen some like fire, like on foot pictures kind of
Yeah.
come out of the local area. Like you mentioned, out of just like wanting to support Devin and, you know, regardless of hype, there's so much hype around Devin and Phoenix and the Suns and what they're going to maybe do this year. You know, everybody who could have gotten that sneaker for retail, you know, they I think more people than not would have definitely just thrown them on foot as opposed to taking the highest bid.
Yeah, literally they're going for 2 racks, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy.
2 racks, and then now, now
sick.
your average consumer, like even for me, I'll be like, damn, I'm not gonna pay 2 racks for that shoe. You get me?
If I saw him at SneakerCon, I'd be like 2 racks.
Yeah,
Parking enforcement.
yeah.
Nah, yeah. I think that's one thing that Adidas has been doing better lately too, because
That's my parking.
like perfect example, Ant with his shoe, he had Tyshawn wear it and do skateboard in it. That was
Yeah,
tight.
yeah.
And then even fucking Harden's been having all his homies wear his shoe like off court and show that you could like style it with like designer shit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that like Nike hasn't been doing with none of their signature athletes like that.
Do you think it's crazy that we're seeing basketball, like performance basketball sneakers that are wearable off the court again, but a lot of these designs are coming from the 3 stripes versus Nike or Jordan brand, when from my perspective, these guys kind of pioneered the wearable performance sneaker?
It is. I don't want to say it's weird, but it's cool to see. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Anthony Edwards sneaker. I think it looks cool on the
Yeah.
court, and you obviously said you could wear it off
Yeah,
the
yeah.
court.
I got a little fit off last week.
Yeah, so, but it's just like, I feel like Adidas is actually trying right now. Opposed to Nike, it's just like, let's slap a collab, throw it in there.
See, I feel like they're both trying, but I feel like Nike is falling victim to misguided effort.
Yeah.
Like Adidas, I think, has their finger on the pulse more. And Nike is like, I mean, they have the money and they have the history, and, you know, they're just kind of like throwing shit at the wall, but nothing's sticking.
Yeah.
You know?
It's also like who they have that's like actually tapped into like what people are doing and like like what's relevant, because some of the people, it just seems like some of the people in Nike aren't as in tune with what's going on,
Yeah.
and maybe Adidas has people that are. That's why it seems like they're just like trying more on a street level. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I definitely like to see it.
Yeah, but even like for example, the Kobe's. I feel like Kobe's are helping Nike a lot right now.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then even Vanessa, she posted three teasers of like Valentine's Day sneakers that she has.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, again, it's just like those are really good shoes. But then we're getting, I think the Infinity Kobe's that are coming out the 8th, they're cool, but they're not those heart ones or those Vino ones that she teased.
Yeah.
Or those Dodger 6s. Again, imagine those Dodger 6s came out only at Dodger Stadium at,
Yeah.
a Kobe night.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they would go crazy, and most of the people there at the game, not knowing that shoe's gonna drop, are gonna wear it to wear.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
most, obviously,
Yeah,
there's gonna
yeah.
be people that are so cool.
We got to go to the Dodgers game for free tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
We made money at
Yeah.
the Dodgers game tonight.
No, yeah, and it kind of shows because, like, for example, the Born and Raised SB, the way they did it, that was cool because he gave them out to students.
Yeah.
And obviously some wore them, some sold it. But at the end of the day, what I tell people is they're like, oh, some kid sold it. I'm like, that's Born and Raised giving people $500.
Yeah. I mean, that was their incentive,
Yeah.
to either use as like a sneaker to wear on foot or, as a paycheck.
yeah, here's
you know?
$500 for free, essentially.
Yeah.
But people didn't see it that way. They're like, oh, kids are selling the sneakers. I'm like, who cares?
Like it was a come up regardless.
Yeah.
If you need $500 more than you need a new pair of sneakers on your feet, you got to do what you got to do.
But that's the thing about like, I feel like Nike is thinking more global right now, and instead of like local.
That's fair. Yeah. No, I honestly, when you say that, that's something that I haven't even overly considered. But yeah, I think Nike's focus is outside of America.
Yeah.
And we living here, and for me, like, wanting to see some of these American athletes and some of these partners, again, like I mentioned, heroized, I think maybe that focus isn't there because, yeah, their heads are in different endeavors outside of this market. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I bring them up a lot, but I feel like what they're doing with Clint is really good with Cortez. Like, for example, he did his drop in London. Obviously, he did a Paris drop and a New York drop, but he did it really cool where like people in those cities had access to them, and it went crazy. Obviously, resale went up, but for us looking at it, LA didn't get any. Like, we didn't get a drop, but we were looking at it like, fuck, how can we get these shoes?
Yeah.
So we had that excitement.
That FOMO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what they're doing with him is really sick. And I even told Nike, I'm like, yo, like, this might be your next, like, I would say, like, main guy. Could be, potentially, just because everything that he's doing is really cool. The way he carries himself on social media has this, like, cool, like, paid in full look to it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could essentially be a special partnership if they continue giving him, like, I would say power where he's like, all right, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do this. And even, I don't know if you saw, he, all the bot orders he canceled, and then he did a drop in London, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
So that was cool.
Yeah, yeah. He like freed up the botted inventory and then dropped
Exactly.
it again. That's
Yeah.
fire. I fully support that. That's sick. That's super sick.
What'd you think of the leak of the new ones?
The
Huaraches.
The Huarache. I mean, I have to see it. It's literally
it's like a paper.
It's a paper with a mock. You can't really tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an inland sheet. But I'm glad if it's those that's dropping. I'm glad he did like the high top one, like, and he's not doing the lows because I always thought those were like a little bit better.
I think they're gonna do well. I think
Yeah.
again, like, it's with him. What I see with what he's doing is like he's doing stuff that he likes and that what he's gonna wear, and it's always kind of like, it's cool to see the person. It's like, for example, for us, like, imagine we pumped out all the Syndicate gear. None of us wore Syndicate. You
Yeah.
know? Like, it's kind of like,
What's going on here?
yeah, what's going on here type thing. But with him, it's just like he's wearing his shoes all the time. He's a big Nike guy. Even his own clothes, he's making essentially what like a designer would make, but he's just like, I'm making my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a blessing when like you can do something that's just like really fulfilling, but it happens to be like something that will be really widely appreciated,
Yeah.
more than just like by yourself or by like your circle of homies. Like that's something I always felt like I got really lucky with where, I happened to kind of get into Jordans at a time where, the sneaker game kind of exploded,
Yeah.
and it made it to where a lot of the pairs that I was buying, just for my personal collection, if we're looking at these purchases as investments, we did really good on a lot of stuff, and definitely, furthered like me just like wanting to grow within the game, you know, and like have a shit ton of pairs in the closet as well.
Yeah, but I think that's also like the biggest difference between like the people that are actually into it, that we view it as like, oh, we want to shoot because it's cool. We're not thinking on return on investment.
Yeah,
But then now sometimes you're like, oh shit, this shoe is worth money, so I can sell it and get another one. But for most people now, when they're buying the shoe, they're like, how can I make money on this?
yeah.
But in reality, most shoes aren't making money anymore
No,
at all.
like the Craft 3s
Yeah.
are so sick.
Yeah, but they're
Like, yeah, they're not gonna resell.
I
you
see
know?
people
They're
selling
super,
them in
super
bulk
cool
for
though.
170, which
Cool.
is below retail.
Yeah,
Which is crazy. And it's
Yeah.
a really nice shoe.
they're great.
They have like the hidden Nike Air in the back. Like it's a really good shoe.
Good details.
You said that the Concord was your favorite, well, like your intro into it.
Yeah, yeah.
So how does it make you feel seeing like that shoe was such high demand, but then the Gratitude dropped and nobody really wanted it?
It's interesting. Like I think because of social media, you know, a lot of people get excited by whatever seems to be trending, you know, and the Jordan 11, when I first got into shoes, was like the unanimous like best Jordan silhouette,
Yeah.
you know, and then as more time has gone on and we've like kind of invited people outside of the sneaker game into the club, you know, you get more of a what's the right word, like a normie perspective on like what should be hyped. And so I think that's why the Jordan 1 and the Jordan 1 Low have kind of ascended to the top of the chart as far as like most popular Jordan, because it's very safe. It's a very simple sneaker to wear, as with the Dunk as well. So, you know, I recently, someone, I think it was like Complex posted, Kevin Durant was like, the Jordan 1 Low is like easily the best Jordan shoe of all time. And I commented back and said, I'm convinced that people whose favorite sneaker is the Jordan 1 Low don't actually like sneakers.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, it's just like, it's such a entry level silhouette. Like, you know, you look at something like a Flight Posit or like, you know, a pair that is like really dynamic, you know, in terms of like the cuts and the lines and the materials. If out of every sneaker that's ever came out ever, you look at all these options and you land on, you know, a safe pick like a Jordan 1 Low, I'm like, man, like, you know, where's the creativity or like the willingness to kind of step outside of this like box, you know? And like I've always loved like the Jordan 15 and 17 Lows and Flight Posits and, you know, stuff that, you know, if I'm thinking as the designer putting these lines down on a piece of paper, we're taking risks, you know, like we're doing shit like unique in a different way. And like you said, like for me, hoping that it's going to be received the way I receive it, you know?
Speaking of 17s, I don't know if you saw they're bringing them back, the Lows. I'm actually excited about that, and they're coming with a suitcase.
Yeah.
But also they're slapping a $300 retail. And to me, I'm like, oh, these are going to sit. But I'm actually excited to try to get a pair for maybe under retail on a discount or something. But how do you feel about those coming back?
I think it's really sick that some of the later Jordan models are going to be coming back. I mean, they retailed the first time for half of that price. They were, I believe, $150 when they came out. I really wish that the retail price was more reflective of the original sticker. It almost puts like a bad taste in my mouth. Like I'm really excited that the shoes are coming back. You know, it's a little weird that these pairs are coming in a suitcase because the low tops didn't come in a suitcase. It was the high top pairs, you know? So to like almost make us feel like, look, like we brought the suitcase back. It's like, well, you didn't bring it back. You added a suitcase because these didn't come out in a suitcase to start. And then they're twice as expensive retail. You know, that's the disappointing thing to me, because I feel like for them to think that the shoes have to sell out at $300 to be a successful project, they're not going to sell out at $300, and then they're not going to feel like it was a success, and then we're not going to get other like retros from that era in this quality.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wish that they were planning on retailing the pairs for, you know, $225 to $240 at the highest, because I feel like when they were $150, $160, that's what they would have resold for, you know? So yeah, I'm excited that they'll be back, but I'll be really surprised if Jordan Brand, when they come out, if they look at what they did and they're like, this was sick.
Yeah.
Like
Now they're probably thinking like, damn, we fucking put up another brick.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, because now like I've spoken to a couple of like reps and stuff that ask us like how's their sneakers doing and stuff like that. And I'm like, for me it's cool because like you can sometimes come in here and get shoes for below what Nike's selling them for
Yeah.
below what Foot Locker's
Yeah.
selling them for. And they're just shocked. And I'm just like, that's what happens, But for us, we're a secondary market. So now people are even waiting on like, oh, let's wait for
Yeah.
Cool Kicks to get one, Syndicate to get one because it's going to
Yep.
be cheaper than retail.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've kind of done that to themselves. I think they watched, a business like Round 2, a store like Syndicate be so successful, moving these high units of their sneakers for prices well over, their estimated sticker value. And they kind of were like, how do we get in on this?
Yeah.
They're like, we can make more, kind of limiting the resale demand. We can ask more, absorbing more of what consumers are willing to pay, like off the rip. But, when you change like how buy, sell, and trade in the sneaker world has operated for so long, the pairs that used to sell out for you are sitting now, and you have to kind of recalibrate. And then especially because, as we spoke about the last time I was here, you're going from 5 or 6 shoes that come out in an entire year that you want to 5 or 6 shoes that come out bi-weekly that debatably as a sneaker collector, you could justify purchasing, like constantly. It doesn't stop. It's like this, this never ending machine. So
Yeah, I saw on Instagram like the February drops, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You're
It's
still
like,
scrolling and it's
it's
just
like
February?
so many, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
back in the day, it was just like you had 5 shoes that year, and you're like, all right, how do I get these 5 shoes? And that's all I want. This year in February, you're like, fuck, I'm gonna get. Let's say if it was like back in the day, now I would have thought, I'm like, how am I gonna get all these shoes?
yeah,
You get me? Like, but it's-
that's me right now, bro. I hear you.
yeah. So it's hard, Like it's actually hard. And then I think we're finally getting our first pair of SBs this year, the Heart ones.
Oh, or the pack, right?
Yeah, the pack.
the
Yeah, I think that's
burgundy
the
and
first drop
the
of
white
SBs.
ones.
Which pair?
The Valentine's Day one. The
Yeah.
was it burgundy and then cream?
Yeah, like the burgundy, like those Kobe 4Ps.
Yeah.
And
What
then
do you,
the like
what do you
all
think
cream
of
ones.
those?
They look nice, like detail wise and everything, but at the same time, it's nothing that like is pops like crazy. Like, I mean, the last Valentine's show I remember, like for SB, that really went crazy and still holds its value are those Strange Loves.
Yeah, those are sick.
Like those crazy details down to the insoles, and it's kind of like you expect certain things like that to continue going. So when, like, not saying the shoe's not nice, but it just feels underwhelming for that type of drop. if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
measuring up against the Strange Loves,
Yeah.
you're gonna come in
Yeah.
second place most of the time.
Yeah.
Those are crazy.
But yeah, it's kind of, again, it's going back to like they should do special, because even Easter had an Easter pack,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They used to have,
Little patent leather Air Force.
they used to have like stories to tell with the holidays, and they were limited. They are released
Yeah.
the same day, and it was special because obviously you wanted that shoe for that day, so they would drop it the night before, the day before.
Yeah.
And you had it.
Get
for the
your
next
fit
day.
off. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Hell yeah.
So I feel like they need to go back to that. And again, it's just like it might not be nostalgia, but it makes it fun. Like it makes it fun to be like, oh, I have these on Easter.
Yeah. So, Chris, and you actually speak with Nike, so you may have some context for this. How limiting is the cadence of drops to actually doing some of the storytelling and executing some of the campaigns that we're describing? Because a lot of that takes time. It takes rollout time. It takes planning. And if you don't have the leadway in terms of like being able to market around something specifically when there's 17 other things in those 3 weeks, can Nike be what they were from a marketing perspective when they have so much to market around? Like, is that even possible now?
Well, the last time they came in, they were asking us questions about that, and they're like, yeah, we're planning for like 27, 28. And I was just like, I mean, it's good that you guys are that ahead, but then now we have to deal with these next couple years of like,
Yeah.
They literally pretty much were like, there's a lot of shit coming out, and there's too much shit coming out.
It sounds like it.
And then I'm just like, I mean, you just make it more limited, but now they're planning for obviously, what is it, 24, 4 years from now?
Yeah.
3 years from now,
Yeah.
whatever's. But again, like they can do it because obviously look at the Amanier stuff. It has a story to tell, but obviously sometimes the models don't do as great. But like for example, the 5s, they sell pretty well, especially the
yeah.
black 5.
Yeah, black pair's crazy.
Yeah, and it has a good shape. It looks good with like whatever you want to wear it with. So they have the power to do it, but then they just like, again, like for example, you don't need the black and the white. Yeah, the white I think is sick,
I love the white too.
but just give us the black.
Yeah.
That's it. Cut it there, and then maybe make a little bit more because it seems like that one was way more limited.
Yeah.
The black one.
Yeah.
I
But
don't like how they're doing with. Oh, I don't know if it's dropping. They showed the pictures of the 4s, the
Yeah.
white ones.
Yeah, those are hard.
If they did have both, they didn't drop them as a pack, so it shows like you could drop them separate if you guys are planning on dropping those.
Yeah, if you guys
too.
are working 4 years in advance, like let's tier these things out, you know.
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like they could just do better. But again, with the Nike Dunk, I feel like they fell in love with it because now they're just like, there's retros of shoes. Like for example, the Brazil just came out again
Yeah.
last week.
Uh-huh.
Or I don't want to say if it's a new, it's just a restock, but it's just
Yeah.
like, bro, come on.
Dusty Olives.
Dusty Olives, and it's all these shoes that held up that people wanted, but then now people are seeing it so much that they're just kind of like over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the best shoes ever is the Jordan 1, and they watered it down so bad.
Yeah. Oh,
Like-
it's I mean, it's crazy. Like, you know, some of the colorways the last few years, if they came out like turbo green era,
Yeah.
you know,
They would've hit.
they would be reselling for double retail. You know, I think starting with, if I remember correctly, like around the time when Marina Blues came out,
Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of like the beginning of the Jordan 1 just being so saturated and like new colorways releasing so frequently that, you know, the resale just kind of evaporated.
Yeah, like for example, right behind you, I feel like that UNC toe is really good.
both of these.
Yeah, but
Yellow toe, blue
but
toe.
now it's just like nobody wants because you have the Marinas, you have what are they called, the Brotherhoods. You have so
yeah, see,
many.
all those came out like right around the same time.
yeah,
and
where it's
flopped.
just like
Yeah.
so much. And you're just kinda,
There's that lucky green, like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, they've kind of ran that color
yeah, the
blocking crazy too.
pollen, Yeah, and then now even they just showed the latte. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, those
and-
those have been all over Instagram.
Yeah.
Like every couple swipes, I'm seeing the early
Yeah.
photos of those. Yeah,
But that would have been a really good Jordan 1.
Totally.
Because honestly, that latte reminds me of the Art Basel pack.
yeah,
Yeah, it
the
kinda
color
has that-
blocking and the
yeah.
material. Yeah, yeah,
Like the material looks like that, and why do rust pinks and igloos go for 3 racks? They were super limited.
yeah,
So it's just like, you never know. But again, that one, they didn't milk it because I still remember we were around to New York and our homie brought the set and it was my size too. And I was like, fuck it, I want it. And I think they were going for like 900 only. And I was just like, I don't know, bro, they might drop again. Blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
You never know with Jordan. So I think I offered him like 7. He's like, can you do 8? And I was just like, I'll pass. Again, that's another L
Womp
right
womp.
there.
Yeah.
And they shot up to 335, whatever
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
now.
yeah.
But it's just like you never know with Jordan Brand because at that time I was like, they're gonna come out again, so I don't want to risk paying $800
Yeah.
for that shoe.
At the time, you probably made definitely the safer decision for
Yeah.
sure.
But then obviously a year later they're $3,500. But then you never know. Jordan Brand next year might have a new igloo looking colorway.
And
to
they've
come.
done in recent like months and years like some very similar pairs, at least to the igloo.
Well, they tried, and
Yeah.
also even like the what is that other one called?
The rust pink.
The rust pink. They tried with the crimson tints to try to make it look like it, but
Yeah.
obviously it doesn't hit the same.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah,
LOL.
it's just like I feel like they do have the power to do it, but obviously at the end of the day, they're a big corporation and they have to make money. So I get why they do what they do, but I feel like with some of the newer shoes, they've taken away from it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like for example, you got to think about Deshaun with Air Max Day. How big that, like, you had Deshaun Witherspoon, and then I think you had around that time the Atmos elephant print.
Yeah, the Jordan
Even
brand
the
pack.
master ones. I'm not a fan of them, but they hit.
They're
People
cool.
like them.
The masters are cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
but-
Materials are sick.
But then they started going away from it, and they just kind of like, I feel like the big bubble was a force. It's just like, oh, here you go. You get me?
Well, that's one of those like we're GRing a shoe for 15 people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like where you're basing a design around trying to appease like an audience of collectors that represents like, you know, 0.1% of your total consumer.
Yeah.
And then you're making it a GR. You're not making 1,000 pairs.
Yeah.
So they're, you know, they need to be more appealing than to just, you know, the 17
Yeah.
OG big bubble collectors. They're like, these
Yeah.
haven't came out since 86. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, fuck.
No, yeah, like I like that new Air Max. What is it called? The Air Max DN or whatever?
Yeah,
oh,
they're
yeah,
sick.
the new joints.
Yeah, the
They're
black
really
one.
cool.
I want the all black one, but again, like I feel like that campaign could be done a little better.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe.
totally. I mean, I think that it's really hard to make an impact with a product that, this isn't just the one release this week. This is one of 30, 50 options. Like everything is a little less special, when you're going about releasing stuff so frequently, and then obviously the quantities. There's a lot of these pairs, and then 72 hours later,
another pair.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem, and I think we say it's like an endless argument. It's like there's just what's next, and I feel like if you kind of like slow it down a bit and then make something very good, like let's say you make 5 GRs and then one quick strike, let's say a month. That's being generous. People are gonna want obviously the quick strike.
Yeah.
But if they can't get the quick strike, then we'll get the other version.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Who knows what they'll do?
My example of that is like I remember on Jordan release dates, usually a LeBron would come out as well.
Yeah.
So like if I couldn't get the retro, I'd buy the LeBron. And like they kind of had that guaranteed because if I don't get the satisfaction of leaving with the retro that I wanted, there's a shiny new LeBron sneaker on the shelf that, those aren't going to sell out this hour.
Yeah.
So it was like almost like by design. They got me to a retail store and I was going to leave with something.
Yeah, no, even with the packs, the basketball packs, if you couldn't get the foam, the Big Bang was next. Or the Kobe.
Just down the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that
Totally.
sold out. Let me get this one. But yeah, I mean,
That's
I think
a trip. That's a trip.
Yeah.
Something I want your guys' perspective on, and we kind of touched on it just briefly, but what do you guys think the potential for the Kobe Bryant line with Nike is? Can it be its own standalone thing? Could it become, something similar to what Jordan Brand is? And what do you guys think of that?
I think it could, just because like I always tell people, it's a shoe with a function, especially with the Protro. Like in it, like obviously it's made with newer technology, but it's obviously an older shoe.
Yeah. Super sick
Because like
concept.
for me, I always want new shoes to hoop in. Even though like let's say my regular hoop shoes still works, I still want the new one to hoop in just because, and that's what all kids want. They want a nice
latest
shoe
and the
to hoop
greatest.
in. So I feel like it's gonna have, it could stand alone. For sure it could stand alone because even what is that thing called? The black one.
The
Gift of
Mambas?
Mamba.
Yeah.
You could wear that shoe as like an outfit shoe, but you could also hoop in it.
Definitely.
So even the girl that Kobe 4, it has like more of a lifestyle look to it. Or that Vino one that she teased, Vanessa.
Yeah.
It's really nice and it has potential.
Yeah.
So I feel like obviously it's already on the way to do that. But again, it has a function. With Jordans, the technology is outdated and the materials aren't comfortable.
Yeah.
So they don't really have a function besides the history.
Uh-huh.
So I feel with Kobe's, there's always going to be kids to hoop in. Obviously, everybody wants to hoop in the Kobe, one of the better shoes. And with Jordan, I feel like the technology is from the 90s, for at least for his better ones. And they don't, maybe you never know. What if they make a Protro Jordan 5?
I was just about to say that.
What if
Oh,
they
that'd
do
be
that?
so sick.
What if they do that and then they tell a story and that Jordan 5, a black metallic Protro, becomes a hoopable
hoop shoe. Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
So you never know. It
I
could
would
be-
I would be a huge fan of seeing that happen.
because, for example, the KD3s, I love that model, but it's not Protro, it's a retro. So when I wore it to hoop in,
it was like a shell of a shoe.
it literally felt like cardboard. But when I hoop in the Grinches, the technology's there. Obviously,
Yeah.
the material on the outside is very weak because a lot of people have been showing that they rip on them.
Oh, like at the midsole where they link to
where
the upper.
plate is at.
Where the
Okay.
cut is.
Yeah. So I feel like you never know. What if they do a Protro Jordan 5, Protro Jordan 1?
yeah.
It could be possible, but I feel like
It'd
the
be sick.
Kobe line is gonna be here forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope so because it's a really good line.
How much do you think Vanessa ultimately influences where the Kobe line will go with Nike?
I think
The whole
fully-
thing,
I think
right? Yeah,
fully.
yeah.
She has full control, right?
Because you remember they were done for a bit and then they brought it back.
Yeah, which I think was appropriate.
Yeah.
I think like obviously it's so tragic that Kobe's not with us. It kind of freaks me out. Like I'll think about it like randomly, like where
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like he's just literally not here. It's
Yeah.
fucked. But yeah, I would really like Nike to put a lot of emphasis on his line. I think to a certain extent, as you mentioned, with the Jordan models really aging out technology-wise, it makes sense for Nike to position themselves to be able to have Kobe products, that they're offering consistently, but more than just, the shoe. Like Mamba mentality, I think needs to become like more incorporated into just Nike at large, you know,
Yeah.
and how they move forward as a brand.
Yeah, well, they're already starting to with the schools becoming Kobe schools and stuff like that. But again, like have programs. And I remember when with the Halos, they did that basketball tournament in
Yeah.
downtown. That was cool. So
Yeah.
you know that you're making a community feel like, all right, we're part of something. So I feel like Vanessa has like a big control of it, and that I mean, you never know. What if those Kobe Dodgers are gonna come out during the season? We
Yeah,
might
yeah.
just be like, I might just be right now saying like,
They're
oh,
like,
they
bro,
should-
like we already got that plan.
yeah, exactly. But or even those, I think, for example, the Heart Eights. I think those are sick. And then again on court, they would look crazy.
Yeah.
yeah. But who knows? I mean, I hope so. You know, yeah. But yeah, it's a good way to end it.
Hell yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, and then next week, Austin will be telling us a little bit about himself.